Welcome to the 3D paper kit to build your own furniture to create a scene for Lady Vagabond Lifestyle. For this kit you will need a burn tool, extra forte glue and a ruler. In the kit you will find inspiration in the form of this photograph, which I will show you later and explain how I built this little diorama scene from an 8x8 sheet. You will find a piece of acetate, but you don't actually need it. You can just keep that for something else. There is nothing on the other side, so you can put that on one side or use the back of it. There's a second sheet to glue on. Here we have the two pieces of the kit, which are in two different colorways, and on the other side we have the brown. So it's up to you which color set you want to do. You don't have to do everything in brown. You could do the dresser in brown and the writing desk in the cracked marble. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to use all these items in one project. For example, I have used just the fireplace and the clock in this frame, and I've used the wooden laser cuts, printed laser cuts, as well as the pieces from the collectibles to be able to build this project. So it's entirely up to you how and where and for what you use your items. Right, let's get started. We're going to start with the scoring, and you'll notice that I have left everything in the paper, and that is because we have the dotted lines that are there for you to be able to follow with your ruler outside of the printed area. So we're going to start with the horizontal, so lining your ruler up and using the needle point side. I find it more accurate than the ball point. So we're going to draw there. Then we're going to do the verticals. 1, 2, and here we go from under the gold, 3, 4, and continue on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doing the back of the fireplace, it is just this skinny bit across the top. Continuing with the fireplace, we're going to do these very skinny lines. So you need to be right on those dots with your ruler, both that side and that side. And again over here. Just making sure that I'm being very accurate, because these are such skinny folds you have to do later that you need to be quite precise at this stage. So there we go. Those are done. Now I'm going to do the vertical. And there is the cut line in the middle to help, and there's a dot there, so I can see exactly where I need to go. Same on this side. Here is a dot, there is a dot. Perfect. Right, I'm going to turn it horizontal so that you can see. This is the two backs for the dresser. I like to glue my dresser together, but it does come in the 2 pieces, so it does mean that you can build it as 2 separate cupboards and use it separately, or you can join it together. So I'm going to do these 2 pieces first, then I'm going to do that piece. It's quite easy to see on the brown where the dots are, and then we have one horizontal, or in this case my ruler is going vertical. Perfect. Now let's do the suitcases. So they are perfectly lined up, so you can just do one zap right across, second zap right across, third one. So by now you can probably see that there's a pattern. I like to be fairly methodical in the way that I tackle this, and I like to do all one way and then the other way. So here we cannot go all the way down because the suitcase lid has to be bigger than the base so that it can fit over it. So if I start from the far right hand side, I'm going to be doing the lid piece first, and then I'm going to be doing the base. Moving along, I'm going to do the base again and the suitcase lid. Repeating exactly the same thing for this suitcase. Perfect. That is that page done, and we'll pop it on one side. And we will do exactly the same thing with the dresser base. So that's the only line in that direction. Then we're going to do the line all the way down the side, and the same over here. I'm going to turn it so that you can see. We have the dresser top. This is the piece that I normally glue to the base once it is finished being built, or as I said, you can do it separately. Now I'm going to go with the verticals. And there we go. Here, this one right next to where it says fold lines, I'm going to suggest that we don't actually score this one because I need it to be slightly deeper than it is marked. So we will score that one once we have folded everything. We're going to move on to the base of the writing desk, and we're going to score again along the dotted lines. There is a horizontal. Now there is an angle, and another horizontal, which you can actually do these two at the same time. So there's one on this side and that one, and then you've got the angle over here. Moving along, this is the front of the writing desk, and it is 2 horizontal lines. Then we have the back. So this is the back of the writing desk. And lastly, the clock. So here you need to make sure that you're fairly accurate with your ruler. In fact, very accurate, because it needs to be right on those bumps. And again, right on those lines. You can hear them. I'm going to do that again, slightly further in. There we go. Right, now we need to go in that V and right at the end over here. Perfect. That is all the scoring done. Let's get building. We're going to start with the fireplace, which is the first piece that we scored. They come out really, really easily. So you don't have to fight with it at all. You will need this piece, the backing piece, and the mantelpiece. Again, leave everything in its backing paper so that you don't lose anything. And I like to pull the lines towards me, so you'll find it's better if you turn it over and then pull. So if you've scored on that side, it will fold perfectly like that. And now with this, I'm going to fold everything away from myself. So it's, again, I turn it over and I pull towards myself, and then towards myself and towards myself. The top bit, I'm going to pull towards myself, and I obviously didn't score that one hard enough. If that happens, you just go back and score again, because I obviously didn't press hard enough on that one. And I have I pressed hard enough on that one? No. So don't be afraid to just go back. If you missed a line while you were busy, there we go. So now fold and fold and turn it over and fold and fold. So there we go. Right, so we have those two bits folded, and again I scored on this side, so I'm going to turn it over and pull towards myself. These are very, very skinny, so they take a little bit of patience, and you really need to have scored these well. And I'm going to do the opposite side, so just folding towards myself. And now I'm going to do the top line and turn it round so that again I can have my nails on that bend and do the top line. Perfect. So now I've got a tight crease. And now I can do these little teeny tiny side ones. So they need to go down and inside. And again inside and the opposite side. Right. Now we are ready to glue. So now we've folded it and scored it. Having scored it earlier, we're folding it everywhere. And this is designed to form a box at the back. So we're going to put our glue on there and it will form a box. And again, you can put your burn tool inside to be able to give good pressure. And you're going to put glue just on the edge of that one and pop it inside. Put the burn tool there. So this goes right to the end over there. So it creates a perfect box. Right, done. Okay, so now you have your fireplace, which in this case looks the same, and it's going to go on the back like so. And you are going to fold the top in before you glue it on there, because you need a surface on which to glue your mantelpiece. Okay, so now you are going to put glue all the way down there, up there, there and there, making sure that that is in. And this is what is going to give it stability. So you need to just make sure that it is flush with the floor. So I'm tapping it on the floor and flush with the sides. So just make sure that you have that edge perfectly flush and this edge perfectly flush. Come on. I know you haven't dried yet, glue. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So now we have the base for the mantelpiece on which to go. So the easiest way to do this is to do it lying down, because then you can see so that it's sitting flush with the back and evenly over each edge. And you want to make sure that these are sticking up slightly when you put the glue on. So I'm going to lay that down, and I've got the join at the back, so this is where I glued it. I'm going to have that at the back so that I have the neat edge in the front, and squish them together. and hold it for a few seconds. While it dries. Now we have the fireplace. And it'll stand perfectly on its own. Ta-da! Now we're going to start with the dresser, and we're going to take out the base piece, which comes out really easily, as you've already seen, by building the fireplace. Once you've got that piece out, remove the top piece and the piece from the other sheet. So when I originally designed this, I designed it so that it would have one single long back, but it has been done so that you can actually build it as two separate units and have it together if you want to, or use it in two different places. So I'm just going to carefully put these out of the way. And now I have the base, which is wider than the top. So let's start scoring. Well, we've done the scoring, so we're now going to start folding. And because you've done the scoring, it's very easy to fold. This does open, so if you don't want to open it, you don't have to, but you will need to then score along that edge as well, so that it's easy to fold open. And you can continue along all the score lines, just methodically bending them. There is a teeny tiny one at the top there, which I don't think I scored. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay. Fold along there, fold along there. And fold there. Right. Then we have this piece. Perfect. Now I suggest you get some tissue paper, roller towel, kitchen towel, paper towel, whatever you have in your studio, because when you get glue on your fingers, it makes for a sticky situation. So we're going to start by gluing the front together. So of course you can see the other colorway here, and I'm going to just pop a little bit of glue on that tab and a little bit of glue on that tab over there, and hold them together. The extra forte glue holds really quickly, as you can see. So we have one piece ready to go. Then we need the back, so it's going to fit in like so. And what I'm going to do is just fold these in a little bit tighter, and again pop some glue on the flaps. Don't be excessive with the glue, because remember the glue will ooze out where you don't want it to, so you need just enough. And now I'm going to just angle it in. And there where the glue has escaped, I'm just going to... Now you can put your hand inside and make sure that the tab at the top sticks properly. If you have broad hands, you can of course use your ball tool and pop it in on the table and burnish it from there. So now you can see we have the base, and that can stand as a standalone piece of furniture now. Then we're going to do the same with the top of the dresser, and we're going to first glue the tabs on either side, and I didn't fold that when we were folding, so just giving that a brief fold now, and glue, and glue, now we're going to do the bottom piece, and again just on those tabs there and there, glue them in, slide them in place and glue them in. And then for the next step, this is where it becomes really handy to have the door open, because we need to be able to glue our backing piece in place. So these two tabs have to slide inside and glue themselves in there. So you need to be able to get your hands inside to be able to get those tabs flat. Okay, so let's pop some glue on that tab and this tab, and I can see that the line is out, so I'm going to just take the glue off. Right, to fix it, I'm going to put my ruler up against the line there and score inside. Right, so now I should have a nice hard score line that goes from that point to that point there, and it will bend and behave. There we go, fixed. We can carry on gluing. Okay, so now I've got the glue tabs there. side, pop it in the other side. Have your tissue paper ready for any excess glue. And with the door open, you can now press on all the different tabs to make sure that they are sticking well and truly. Okay, so now you have a separate box that is a cupboard, so you could have them as separate pieces of furniture, or you can glue them one on top of the other. That's the first one done. Moving right along. Popping that over to one side. Now we're going to carry on with the clock. So for that we need a clock face, the clock base, and the other clock face. So you're going to need the clock back, clock face, and the base. Pop these onto one side. Let's build the clock. This is probably the most fiddly of everything, and so we are going to fold it along the lines that we made earlier, and each one of these little tabs needs to be bent in. Perfect. And that score line there. Of course, there's no score lines on the clock. So we need the clock front and back. Going to glue there and line it up with the base, and if you have too much glue, just take it off. Then you're going to put the back of the clock on. Again, line it up with the base. There we go. So now you have that shape. This is where I suggest you only glue a few little pieces at a time. Don't go gluing everything, because you're going to just get very sticky and it's going to dry too quickly, because we need to manipulate this piece of paper around this shape here till it joins up at the end over there. So I'm just making sure that these guys are behaving themselves and all bending in nicely, and I'm going to put the first few dots of glue for about the first that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to manipulate the clock by bending the cardboard to fit the shape of the clock. So now I'm going to push it backwards on itself and then down so that I'm gripping it between my other 2 fingers and then holding it there for a few minutes while that glue sets. And I can see I need more glue here. So yes, this is by far the most complicated. And just takes a whole lot of patience and time. So now you can see why I only glued the first few, because they're taking a while to set. And then I'm going to pop the next few in. So you're basically manipulating the cardboard into the shape around the clock. At this stage, it's now easier to put a little bit of glue inside the clock there and inside the clock there, and continue with the same process. And hold it. So I have a clock that now looks like that. So we can still possibly manipulate that a little bit. No, there we go. And if it's not quite behaving, again you can get your burn tool in and get it to just shift slightly. Perfect. Now we do the next little bit of glue. And form the curve. So you can see that it takes a little bit of time, and the warmth of your fingers will help to set the glue as well. And at this stage you can start manipulating the paper so that you give it a bit of a form, so that you're not fighting the paper and everything else. And then of course your end over here you want to bend that way, so then you want these in. And at this stage I put the glue on the tabs again, and I'm going to do just 3. That's rather a lot of glue, so less glue. And there we go. Hold it in place. And then it's just the last little bit. So I'm holding that until it's set. And last 2 pieces that need glue and this tab. So we're going to do the bottom tab, these two tabs. You can also use your tool to help get the bits inside the clock, because at this stage it's the last little bit that you need to manipulate on that end. So we have this bend up, and this in. Okay. Right. And we have our clock. Ta-da! Love this little clock. It's the hardest thing to make, but it's the cutest thing in the set. Love it, love it, love it. We're now going to tackle the writing desk. So we're going to pull that out. You need the 3 pieces. And again, we're going to systematically fold everything. And this is the writing desk's open area, so it's the desk bit, so it folds towards you. Then you're going to have everything else is going to fold away from you. Perfect. There we go. This is the panel that will fit into the desk over there. So I'm going to fold those like that. So you fold down and down. Now this is where you have a choice, because you can decide whether you want the paler top bit showing at the back of the desk or the darker bit. So mostly you're going to display your desk facing forwards like this, with this against the back of something. So it doesn't matter if you decide you want the darker piece there, or if you want to have the lighter piece showing at the back. I'm going to have the lighter piece showing at the top, with the darker piece finishing off my actual writing desk. So I'm going to fold that there and there, and now we can glue it all together. So what I find is easier is, at this stage I put the desk together before I put the back on. So we're going to put glue on these tabs, and it will fit like so. You just have to be a little bit patient while the glue grips, and the reason I do this piece first is so that I can still get my fingers inside to be able to push this tab down. So I want to be able to make sure that I can get at those tabs easily. Perfect. And when that is glued in place, we are now going to add on the back. So we're going to need glue along that edge, glue along these two bits, and then squish it together. I like to have it standing so that I know that the base is flush. So I will stick the top and then the bottom side bits. Just walk your fingers up the tabs. And your desk is done. You can glue it shut if you want to, or you can have it open. It depends on what you want to do. Again, if you are struggling, you can make sure that that back bit sticks well by using your burn tool. And if you have any extra glue squeezing out, just clean it off with some tissue. That's your next item done. Finally, we're going to make the suitcases. And my personal choice is the blue for the outside, or teal, and the green one, because it just stands out so much better against the furniture than the dark ones. But again, they are double-sided for you to be able to choose. So here we go with all the folding again. So folding all along all your score lines. So it's basically like making a box. You're going to have your tabs on the inside. Let's take that one out the way. You're going to have your tabs on the inside, glue your box, and then you're going to do the same with your lid. So you want your tabs again on the inside. So just make sure that your corners meet up neatly. That one needs a bit more glue. I wasn't generous enough. Oh, now I'm too generous. So I have the bottom box made, and again I wasn't generous enough with that glue, so let's just add a little bit more. Perfect. Now we have our box. And I need to do the same here, so I'm going to put dot of glue there, dot of glue there, and make sure the corners meet up nicely. Just always remember to hold it for a few seconds. And there we have our suitcase that folds and holds itself shut. Ta-da! It's so cute. Let's do the last one. So again, squishy, squishy, squish. Squishy, squishy, squish, squashy, squashy, squash. You know the drill by this stage. And as I learned from the first one, if I'm going to glue, I'm going to just glue the front one first. And then I will do the back ones, because the glue dried too quickly. You could of course do little pegs on here if you don't want to sit and hold them till they're dry, but you can see that the glue really holds very quickly. So let's too generous. Over generous doesn't work either. Got to have the happy medium. And I'm off camera. And there's your next little suitcase. There we go. I've closed that one a little tight. There we go. So you have your two little suitcases which you can stack. They are designed to fit underneath the writing desk and underneath the legs of the dresser. So you can have them underneath like that. Or of course you can just have them stacked separately. They don't have to be underneath the dressers, but it is designed to go under the writing desk and the dresser. And of course, if you want to have this on the top of your dresser, you can glue it on there by adding some glue under here. And I would do it again flat on a surface so that you make sure that you get a nice long parallel back. I'm going to zoom out again so that we can discuss what you can use these with. I have decided that I want to glue mine together, so I'm going to put glue on the base over there, and I'm going to line it up in the middle like so. Let's just make sure that I am middle, yes, and put my finger in there and my hand inside there just to make sure that I get enough pressure. And now I have one piece, just like my granny's dresser. Okay, so that being done, I've now got all my pieces, and now it's up to you what you're going to do with them. I built myself a little display piece using the 8x8 paper. So I used normal grey chipboard. There's still some left for you to see at the bottom. Normal grey chipboard, and I designed it around, as I said, the 8x8 paper. I did use 2 of these sheets because I've used on the inside here, I've used that one split in half so that I can open and close it, and I haven't put anything on the back. You can of course finish it off with another design on the back. I fussy cut Lady Vagabond out like that, so that, and of course I've also fussy cut Sir Zeppelin out of the paper so that I can put my clock and so on the mantelpiece like so, and then I can have the dresser and the writing desk displayed. You could of course glue them on, but then it means you can't close them, so I like to put them in different display formats, so I haven't glued these down. And it just means that you can store it like that. You can put them in the front, and of course you could have your suitcases in the dresser units if it was standing up. Of course I'm videoing this from above, so I can't really stand this up. I have also done one of Stamperia's books. These are the nesting books. There's this one is the medium one. It comes out of the large book, and I have made a little room again using the 8x8 paper, and I have put it over there, so you can have the book just as is, or you can put the dresser over there, and you can have your writing desk inside. You can have your suitcases in there. You can have your suitcase over here, and or you can have them, you could leave your suitcase open. So of course these are not glued shut, so you could have your suitcase open with some things inside coming out, little bits of fabric to pretend to be clothes, little books. Really, your imagination is your limitation with this, because it's so many different ways that you can actually use these different items. So I hope you have fun building your furniture, and please share on Stampers Worldwide. We love to see what you do with your creations.